Hey YouTube, it's ICU, and today I have an interesting update to discuss with you guys pertaining to jailbreaking. But first, if you're interested in winning a brand new Apple Watch, be sure to stick around to the end of this video for instructions on how to enter my giveaway because it's ending soon. And with that said, recently rumors have been circulating throughout numerous Apple blogs and websites suggesting that iOS 9 will be rootless. So this is something that will affect us post iOS 8.3 and even 8.4. So will we be able to jailbreak in the future, or will iOS 9 be the harbinger of the end of jailbreaking? Let's find out. Now, getting started here immediately, I'm actually going to have a link down below in the more info to a great article that goes over everything I'm going to be discussing in today's video in a written format if you guys are interested in that. Now, recently, as the public awaits a new jailbreak solution for iOS 8.3 and the forthcoming iOS 8.4 firmware, interesting reports broke throughout the Apple blogosphere originating from 9to5Mac, suggesting that iOS 9 will feature a new security initiative from Apple dubbed Rootless. Now, while this isn't the first time we've heard tale of increased security measures in the forthcoming iOS 9 release. In fact, I covered it in a recent video and dispelled rumors pertaining to the impossibility of jailbreaking post iOS 8.3. We now have additional information, alleged though it may be, as to how Apple may accomplish hindering future jailbreak development. To preface, TaiG and Pangu have separately confirmed that they're working on new jailbreak utilities independently, at least from what we know thus far, that are intended for iOS 8, specifically iOS 8.4. However, as I've detailed a number of times, while iOS 8.3 remains the current public firmware, the next jailbreak utility, whether it be from TaiG or Pangu, will be heavily contingent upon iOS 8.4 and its release. And if you guys happen to miss any of my recent videos covering the topic, detailing why the jailbreak developers are actually waiting for iOS 8.4, then I recommend navigating to my channel and watching through said coverage. First, prior to delving into the purported security improvements that may be brought forth in iOS 9.0, it's important to have a rudimentary understanding of how jailbreaks function and what their goal actually is. Now, in the most basic terms possible, jailbreaking enables root access. Think of iOS's file system as essentially consisting of two separate users, mobile and root. For a quick analogy, refer to mobile as a guest user on a Mac and root as an administrator. In other words, mobile has limited access and root has unlimited when it comes to the file system. In a nutshell, an iOS device's software is split into three primary portions. Though there are others, these are the three most important: nor disk 0 S1 S1 and disk 0 S1 S2. Starting with the latter two, disk 0 S1 S1 is the base directory of iOS's file system, meaning it contains the actual files that consist of the operating system itself, whereas disk 0 S1 S2 simply consists of users' media, for example, pictures, videos, music, etc. And for obvious reasons, by default, disk 0 S1 S1, remember the one that's the base directory, is off limits to the end user and AFC, or Apple File Conduit, which is how iOS devices interface with computers when they're connected to a PC or a Mac. AFC simply accesses disk 0 S1 S2 for media management, which is why AFC2 will actually be installed on your device when you jailbreak, and TaiG utilizes a custom AFC2. I'm not going to get too into that in this video, so back to the first of the three. nor essentially contains all of a device's boot files and is separate from the rest of iOS. It consists of iBoot, which will run after the boot ROM, the hardware component that was exploited by GeoHot in Lime Rain, though again, that's a separate story, initiates a reboot, and other pieces of the software that are detrimental to a device's successful startup. Now, once nor finishes with iBoot, one of its goals is to mount disk 0 S1 S1, remember base directory, for the root user, which again will occur at the base directory that all jailbreaks will eventually allow access to. Now, after it's mounted, iBoot loads a kernel stored in a cache on disk 0 S1 S1, which is where things get interesting. Once the running kernel loads all of the necessary foreign packages from a device's launch daemons that originate from a jailbreak's initial execution upon reboot to apply the untethered portion of the jailbreak, thus maintaining an end user's access to the root user. Now, putting all of this together, the latest jailbreak utility, TaiG, for iOS 8.0 through 8.1.2, surprisingly does not need to gain root privileges to successfully complete the jailbreak. Instead, the tool simply exploits a portion of the OS that's already owned by the root user. Without touching the root partition, TaiG is able to mount another disk, or DMG, which are like the ones found on OS X, over the existing disk 0 S1, enabling new system files to replace the old ones. Also, to gain access to disk 0 S1, jailbreakers such as TaiG or Pangu can change the owner from root to mobile, which means AFC is free to manipulate it, though it's easier said than done. In other words, we don't need full root access to accomplish a jailbreak throughout the entire process of the jailbreak itself. Now, quickly referencing 9to5Mac's claims of a rootless iOS 9, because iOS is a Unix-based OS, Apple can't entirely change the way things function on a fundamental level. Now, briefly outlined below, 9to5Mac says the following, quote, "New security system called Rootless, which is being described internally as a, quote, huge kernel-level feature for both OS X and iOS. To prevent malware, increase the safety of extensions, and preserve the security of sensitive data, Rootless will prevent even administrative-level users from being able to access certain portions of files on Apple's devices." Sources say that Rootless will be a heavy blow to the jailbreak community on iOS, though it can supposedly be disabled on OS X. So looking at that quote, it could mean any number of things, from creating another user who actually has higher privileges than root and enabling new files that are only owned by said user, to something else entirely that's related to a kernel function, though it won't be without its flaws. However, don't fret. Essentially, every piece of software is exploitable, and the more they change it, the more room they leave for potential exploitation in the beginning stages. And although we can't say for certain what rootless means in terms of iOS 9 until we catch our first glimpse of the firmware, we can confirm that this won't be the end of jailbreaking. It may set things back slightly, but remember, there are tricks to getting around new security measures, and TaiG actually does an excellent job of that. So that just about wraps up everything, guys. I really do hope you liked this video, trying to give you more information and better explain the actual jailbreak process and what the jailbreakers will be up against, or what they will likely be up against rather, with iOS 9, seeing as these are just rumors right now, but they will likely pass from rumor into fact once iOS 9 is announced and released to the public. Again, we'll just have to wait and see though, but special thanks to Black Geek Tutorial for some additional information that's actually found in this video, some of the more technical things. And I really wanted to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and if you're interested in winning a brand new Apple Watch of your own, just navigate to freeappsfast.com inside of Mobile Safari and sign up. Once you do, come back to this video, rate it up, and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section containing your referral code, which is the piece that appears in the 4th tab at the bottom inside of the link itself after the equals symbol. It's really quite simple, and that giveaway will conclude soon, so be sure to get your entries in, again, as soon as possible. And if you want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos covering various things like jailbreaking, as well as the Apple Watch, or really any of Apple's products, be sure to subscribe if you have yet to by clicking on that subscribe button down below next to my channel name. And to be updated even more often, like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.